the things I like least about living in Korea. 5-month update because this is always changing, and I just posted what I like most about living in Korea.
So she's living in Korea for 5 months, and I love to hear people's perspective who has just gotten here and have not lived here a long time, because your perspective changes the longer you live here. So I've lived here for well over a decade, going on a decade and a half. She's been here 5 months, so let's hear what she has to say.
First, there is not a lot of variety here if you are trying to buy something compared to the US. Korea is a fairly conformist society that most people follow trends. So if you want some type of alternative clothing that's not stylish here, you want some type of a unique style of furniture, which I personally like, very difficult to find in Korea. Number two,
Koreans are very uniform people. She is absolutely correct. I swear, like there's like a underground. If you ever been to Busan and went to Samyeon Station underground, they've got underground shopping. I'm sure a lot of cities have it. I swear there's like one supplier, and the one supplier just drops off clothes at the at every single clothing shop. At every single clothing shop. Every single clothing shop sells the exact same thing. Koreans wear the exact same thing, the exact same color. When there's a trend, all the girls, all the guys are wearing the exact same thing. I remember this is a trend in, I don't know if it was in Busan or anywhere else. White tank top. White tank top. And me and the missus went to a lounge or a bar. There's like 7 dudes in white tank tops. Koreans are very uniform people. If you try to do anything outside of the norm, it becomes very difficult to do. But anything inside, very fast and efficient.
and I'm really scared to share this, but there is a bit of a perviness about Korea that I wasn't expecting. Examples, and I actually had heard about this before I came here. I feel like in the US, things like that are a bit more open and in your face. So it's like people kind of own it if they're like that, and you can just avoid those types of situations. In Korea, and it's mainly online, by the way, this is not normal people when you're walking around
Not only online, it's in real life too.
the street as much. But online, there is just like a lot of kind of weird, pervy stuff in places that you would not expect it to be.
How you finding that stuff? How are you searching this pervy content? I've never seen any like crazy pervy content online. I ain't searching that.
And I do think that women here are very sexualized and infantilized. But again, it's like it all happens kind of secretly online, but then it like pops up places. And part of that too is that I've noticed that online Korean people tend to be very secretive with like their name and their photo. And so I think there's just, this happens everywhere, but it's happened a lot in Korea, more than I was expecting and more than I've seen elsewhere, is people just online doing like kind of weird stuff. Of course, I don't like that because it's weird, but it is certainly not everybody. And it's, as long as I like stay off the internet, I don't have to see it. But unfortunately, I do like to use things like YouTube and websites that now see that I'm in Korea, and I almost feel like they will suggest like weirder content to me than they would have when I was in the United States. Next.
She's absolutely correct. By the way, it's not only online. It's also in real life. And I'll give you some examples. Live in Busan. When you're at the beach, they will have like those huge notices that look like advertisements, but they're notices. And they'll have like a guy taking a video or a picture of a woman like in the bikini or whatever. Like, don't do that. You only have those things because people are doing those pervy ass things. On the way to the beach, coming out of Gwangan Station, or like most subway stations, at the stairs, they will have like huge notices or looks like an advertisement of like, don't do any like, take your phone and like, do any pervy stuff up the stairs. Why do we need to know this? Why do we need to know not to do this? She is absolutely correct. And I'm sure any girl who's lived in Korea for any amount of time will know, when you go to the bathroom, I heard a lot of girls say this, there's a lot of like holes. in the bathroom stalls. And like girls will like fill them up with like toilet paper because of like the hidden camera nonsense. So she's absolutely correct. Like that nasty work.
There is way too much focus on appearance here. And I don't think it's not just necessarily people who live in Korea. I even see it on other content creators on TikTok are just constantly talking about the beauty standard. It gets really exhausting. I'm trying not to be too critical of the culture and just accept these types of things, but you are just way more likely to have random people make comments about your appearance, whether it's good or just like a little bit awkward and uncomfortable. And it does come across as a little bit shallow, where it's like, in general, I feel like people have so much pressure on them to look a certain way. And it's really sad because obviously most people are just normal looking people who don't conform to whatever the alleged beauty standards are. And so I just think that it probably causes people a lot of unhappiness, feeling like they just have to be a certain way instead of people, finding their own unique individuality for who they are as a human being and how they look. So months ago, I made a video and basically said there's nothing that I dislike about Korea.
So she's talking about the high beauty standards in Korea and how it is sometimes very intense. What did I say before? Koreans are very intense people. Drinking, intense. Driving, intense. Studying, intense. Work-life culture, intense. Beauty standards, absolutely intense. And she is correct. But here's my thoughts about this. I'm a sports guy. When you play sports, you can't change the rules. It is what it is. Like, I love to play basketball back in the day. I'm short. I can't complain if there's a taller guy out there. Like, that's just the rules. That's just how it is. Here's one thing that really helped me in Korea. I don't try to judge, even though I do sometimes. I try to understand. Image in Korea is a very valuable currency. It's a very valuable currency. And if you don't believe me, just Google, because CNN did a special about this. Just Google CNN. And the title was, when it did this article or special, being ugly in Korea hurts. It actually hurts. Koreans are very image-based people. This is the game. Whenever I do something, I don't try to change the rules of the game. You're not going to change Korea. This is how they are. This is how they are. Like it or not. Again, I'm a positive person. I try to extract the positive out of every situation. So, Koreans like image. I just try to upkeep myself as much as I can. And I find myself upkeeping myself more than I did when I was younger back home in Canada. But she is absolutely correct. Being pretty, being handsome is a currency, and you have to take care of yourself when you're living in Korea. Will you feel some pressure? Probably. But it's all on you. It's a choice.
Compared to the US, I do still like most things about Korea a lot, and I do plan to keep living here. But the more time I spend here, the more I'll learn. No place is perfect. Every place has pros and cons. One of the things I like least about living.
I think she gave a very, very interesting and a very good perspective about her first 5 months. And I think she's quite smart because living here in that short amount of time and picking up on all of these things, I think is pretty good. You let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I always link the original creator. And if you're trying to keep up to date with what's happening in Busan, Seoul, or anywhere in Korea, subscribe to the free K360 newsletter down below in the link as well. We're having a Busan cheat day party. This is an athletic party happening at the Bay 101 on the rooftop on May 30th. Check the link down below for more details. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.